Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Petra, for the introduction, and welcome everyone to the Rise of E-Mobility Roundtable. Here with me are the following guests. Mr. Vincent Carin, Car Sharing Operations Director at Group Renault, whose presentation you just heard. Mr. Tadej Smogavec, the new Head of Sustainable Mobility Development at Petrol, bringing new ideas to their go-to-market strategy for the leading energy, retail, and mobility company in Southeast Europe, and Mr. Gregor Scholz, Department Manager Safety and Electromagnetics, who strongly believes that product testing is an essential part of the automotive innovation and e-mobility industries. Welcome. Also welcome, dear audience. Please keep in mind, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll look at them at the end of the roundtable. My first question goes to Mr. Vincent. Mr. Vincent, what are the key challenges when it comes to expanding e-mobility around the world?
So the first challenge we face in e-mobility is the fact that the customers are frightened to change their automotive habits. This is really the most important thing we have to deal with. Automotive is a market where people are very nostalgic. They are used to refer to cars as family things, things from their past. They like these products. There's a lot of emotion in these products, and change drastically the way these products are moved is something very frightening. And so this is the first thing we have to deal with. The step we have done since 2012 is huge. It's incredible how things have changed in 8 years. This year in Europe, there will be more than 500,000 electric cars sold, which is something extraordinary. The movement is engaged, but it was long, and it was the job of automakers to be patient and to solve all the issues, to reassure the customers, to increase the range of the car. Now the cars are 400, 500 kilometers real range, and also to push infrastructure. But we do all the days.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent. With us is also Mr. Tadej Smogavec from the company Petrol, who is actually experiencing e-mobility right now, directly from the electric vehicle. Mr. Tadej, how is the experience and what is the purpose of your business trip? You're muted. Perfect.
Okay, can we?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hello to everyone, and I can tell you that the experience is great. And as I told already in the breakout room, that me and my colleague, we are going to Germany, to Berlin, which is really a long distance drive with electric vehicles, around 1,000 kilometers in one direction. And the purpose of our business trip is to meet business partners and also meet a partner, Hubject, which is one of the largest B2B roaming platform, and to attend the Intercharge Network conference. And I'm honored to announce that Petrol has just signed the contract with Hubject, and enable our customers more than 250,000 charging points around the Europe and also in the other continents.
Congratulations on the new deal. And I was actually just about to ask, I have some experience with traveling in electric vehicles, and I know 5 years ago, I mean, even traveling between cities, nonetheless countries with an electric vehicle was quite a challenge. How has things changed for the better today?
It is true. 5 years ago, it was almost impossible to drive such a long distance with the electric vehicles. I know some enthusiasts with the electric cars who have done that, but with the electric extension cables and charging mostly on the normal electric plugs. But there were two limitations of doing that. Is that the car ranges were lower or shorter, and there were not enough charging points or charging infrastructures for electric vehicles was not developed. And my colleagues, my previous colleagues in Petrol has foreseen this challenge and start building infrastructures in Slovenia, charging infrastructure even 8 years ago. And after that, they joined in three big EU projects, which were focused on establishing and building charging infrastructure, especially in the Southeast Europe. And thanks of that, we are still leading two consortiums of two projects. We could connect several countries like Slovakia, Hungary, Austria, Slovenia, and Croatia and Romania together. And we can drive now freely with our electrical vehicles, even in the long distance travel.
Perfect. So besides expanding the infrastructure, what other key priorities are in your e-mobility strategy?
We have like three priorities: building the infrastructure, especially in Slovenia and in the countries of Southeast Europe. And we would like to partnership with the other companies who are also building infrastructure or offering the charging service solutions, because we would like to connect all those charging stations that our customers can charge their vehicles anywhere in the Europe. And the third and very important initiative is to offer especially companies electric vehicles as a service. So the company can rent or lease an electric vehicles from us, and then change a part or even a whole fleet of the company for the electric vehicles without any high initial investments.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Tadej. Today, we are experiencing a lot of new automotive startups who are using e-mobility for their entry products to compete with the traditional automotive OEMs. And the traditional OEMs are responding by introducing their own e-vehicles as well, such as Renault Zoe, Nissan Leaf, etc. These e-vehicles have a lot of connected features and autonomous capabilities, making them vulnerable for cyber attacks as well. So, Mr. Gregor, how is the Slovenian Institute of Quality helping automotive players in the field make their vehicles more resilient to these threats?
Cybersecurity is just one of just one part of, but very important part of the testing of parts in e-mobility vehicles. For example, we are not testing only cybersecurity. We, for example, testing also the charging station. For example, those who are using in Petrol, using by Delta Energy Systems. And for example, I'm just now in one of the company who is doing the charging systems also for the other stations. So this is one part. The second part is how to connect the stations, and here all these stations has a web access, and this through web access is possible to have some interruptions. The second thing is of course cybersecurity of e-vehicles, and here unfortunately as a Slovenian company under non-disclosure agreement we has not been tested any I would say, real project due to the fact all companies are, like Renault, for example, are keeping this part more or less for themselves and try to do that inside. But we are, for example, working on cybersecurity protocol for testing, which has been set for one other German company and reviewed by, for example, Siemens, and he has no requirement. So it's quite important that somebody from outside also check what's happening, and of course not what's happening when everything is okay, but what's happening when some things go wrong. And SIQ is here to check that, also to test that.
Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing your views, Mr. Gregor. My next question goes to Mr. Vincent. What are the key initiatives that Group Renault is introducing this year? Anything on safety?
So our initiatives will be still in the same strategy. So we have two legs. We have the car initiatives, where we are going to increase our range of electric vehicle. That means that we will cover more segments of the market. And in 2022, we will cover with pure electric cars or electrified cars more than 80% of the automotive offer of the group. Okay, so we will cover 80% of the market. And there will be a lot of announcements in the coming weeks and months about the new cars we're going to launch. This is really mandatory to comply with all the CO2 and pollution regulations coming, and for the automotive makers. We are ready for it. The second leg is to go on to develop our mobility platforms. We are going to develop cities, so we are currently discussing with 12 cities in Europe and elsewhere to develop our service. Of course, the coronavirus was a tough period because we had to stop our developments. But the good news is that the car sharing and all the e-mobilities are recovering extremely fast post-confinement. So it's very difficult for public transportation to recover. People are frightened of it. But e-car sharing is really pushed by the customers, desired by the customers. So we are going to increase our developments in this direction.
Perfect. Thank you very much. My next question goes to Mr. Gregor. Could you share with us some of your recent projects in the area of testing and cybersecurity to make mobility safer for all?
Yeah, maybe like I mentioned already, we are working mainly on components testing, and those components, the major components, for example, for charging or to control vehicles is EV charger. For example, yeah, we are working also on new testing on the Renault charger, for example, for all three types of Zoe, and for also for the others. So what we are testing, of course, we are testing communication, how to interrupt in this communication, and what happens if somebody, like mentioned in the previous conference, interrupt into this communication for just a fun, and then do the cause the issues. For example, what was also one case, you are of course have hands on your steering wheel, and then how to assure that this electromagnetic field is always present. So car would automatically stop in case they don't feel the driver behind the wheel, and then they will automatically stop. What if these sensors are not working well, and the car will start to stop during the driving? All these things we try to test, and this was one of most interesting tests in last months.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Mr. Tadei, how can governments help to further promote e-mobility?
I think they can do a lot. For sure, they should open a dialogue with all stakeholders in EV world. And it's time that they hear all our challenges, ideas, solutions, and to partner with us in creating enabling environment for growth of the EV market. And it is very important to adopt supportive legislation ensure financial support, simplifying procedure for permitting regarding deployment of EV chargers, and make taxis more friendly to EV users. That will be really good for us.
Understandable. Thank you. I will now check the Zoom for any questions in the chat, and I see our audience is already very interested in our topic. So the first question I'm going to ask our representative from the company Petrol. What about contactless charging? Do you have any experience in this direction, all the way from the platform to application and service at the point of charging?
We don't have experience in charging with the contactless, but we have a platform which could support this way of charging.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Next question for Mr. Vincent. How do you see integration of mobility with other parts of our lives, such as living in smart homes/cities, working, doing sports, culture, entertainment, etc.?
That's a very huge question. I think that what is important in mobility for the future is available for the transportation the people want to do. That means that we are going to adapt more and more at the way of life of the customer. I will give you an example. When, for example, there's a big event outside the city, for example, a tennis tournament or whatever, during 2 weeks, we are able to open a zone, and during these 2 weeks, people can go from the city to this place with the city. Okay? So this is really the kind of things we are all the time trying to imagine. So, and the second thing it is that we always try to put our cars where the customer need them. They don't have the same needs on a Monday or a Friday. On a Monday, probably they will try to have a business usage, and they need the car to their home. On a Friday night, maybe they're going to make sport, and they need a car close to their sport. So we are always, all the days, repositioning the cars in order to try to follow the habits. And this is the way I think mobility has to comply with the habits of the customers.
Very good answer, Mr. Vincent. I like your view on things. And then our last question goes back to Mr. Gregor regarding the previous topic. And it says, could you share with us your view regarding wireless charging? Are we ready for this?
Yeah, wireless charging, we are talking about two wireless charging. One is wireless charging of the cars. I believe here almost all car manufacturers already have solution in final testing procedures and also serious, ready for serious demand. This couldn't be a problem. So to charge your car on your parking place in front of the house or inside of the garage, this is one part. And the second part, of course, is the wireless charging while you are driving. So this is just testing procedure. We didn't have opportunity to test the previous tests, wireless charger for the cars inside of garage. We were present, and also we are doing several of such tests. But the charging on the track where you are able to drive 20 kilometers per hour and charging your buses, or this is what we saw, is for the time being at least not ready for the for mass production, because investment in such charging station is enormous. You need to have hundreds of kilometers of charging station, and this is really future probably.
Yeah, completely understandable. Thank you very much. We have time for 2 more questions. The first one goes to Mr. Vincent. What is your vision about the importance of partners, cities, companies, suppliers, etc., to develop e-mobility?
Very important, very, very important, and almost mandatory. The first partnership is between the operator of new mobility and the city. If you don't operate alongside to the strategy of the city, you cannot operate. So before launching, you have to check that your strategy and the one of the city are compatible. And this needs also an adaptation to the strategy of the city often. Second, there are very important partnership in e-mobility. For example, you need a charging partnership. You need a charging company, an electricity company like Petrol, for example, ready to accompany you and to provide electricity and charging infrastructure. This is mandatory also. And third, when you are an automaker, and this is another example, you need to rely on a company expert in urban service, which is really a different kind of job. And that's why we made this alliance with Ferrovial in Spain, who is an expert of urban services. 3 examples.
Perfect. Thank you very much. This is it for our roundtable. Thank you to all of my panelists and thank you for everybody who was participating. I hope you have a lovely day and back at you, Petra.